Welcome back to Classic Firearms. I'm Brandon, and today we are going to talk about the Walther PDP C Pro SD compact pistol. I know that's a long name, and it's been a while since we've done a Walther, so let's go ahead and dive right in. But first, before we continue, we're going to break down the video in a couple different ways. We're going to talk about the tech specs, then go over tip to butt to give you kind of a real feel what it feels like. We're going to verify some of those tech specs by measurements we do right here on camera live for the first time. So we're going to measure it like at length and height and the trigger pull. So without further ado, let's dive right in. This is the gray variant of that compact PDP. Your slide material up top is steel, and then you have a polymer lower half of the gun. Everything you see in gray is polymer. You have an overall length of 8.1 inches and then a slide length of 7 inches, an overall width of 1.34 inches. It's a very specific width, and an overall height of 5.9 inches. You do have a barrel length of 4.6 inches with a sight radius of 6.4 inches. Lots of measurements there. Now, let's talk about weight. So without the magazine, you're looking at 22.8 ounces. And then with that magazine, it's 26.4 ounces. You do have 18 round magazines. They do have a extra base plate on all 3 of the magazines you get in the box. We'll talk about what comes in the box in just a second as well. They do give you that dynamic trigger package, which does feel really nice, but we'll give more of a trigger pull in a minute as well. And all that's wrapped up at an MSRP of $949. So let's go ahead and dive tip to butt here, because there are some things that it didn't really talk about that I wanted to mention. Now, they do give you a threaded barrel, which is always a good thing to see. That thread pitch is 1/2 by 28, in case you were wondering. You can put a suppressor on there, whatever you want to put on there. Again, that slide is made out of steel. They do give you kind of a traditional 3-dot sight, so 2 on the rear, 1 on the front. And that sight is adjustable. You can barely see this, and I'm going to get you some good B-roll so you can see it, but you can move that rear sight just a little bit for fine tuning. Some people like to have it off just a little bit to one way or another. For whatever reason, you can have that option here. Now, those slide serrations on here are some of the deeper ones that you've seen, and that is pretty common. And I want to give you some size comparison as well with the F series Walther PDP. So very similar. However, your grip is going to be a little bit bigger in comparison to the F series. So this does give you a little bit of a reference, because this one's pretty close. Like slide wise, they're identical. Like, I mean, they are really close. You just have that threaded barrel. So make sure to hold those up, kind of show you. They are very close size-wise. That grip is really where it is different from the F series to this PDP compact specifically. That's the closest related one I can find. Again, those slide serrations are going to be very similar if you've used an F series or any of the standard Walthers. They're very good, very aggressive on both the front and back. You do have an optics plate up top as well, so you can mount what you want up there. You do also have a Picatinny rail on the bottom with 3 crossbar slots, so you could mount any of your lights or lasers that you're going to want, pending that they can fit in one of those slots. And you also have some texturing, some checkered texturing on the front of the grip. So now that we're talking about the polymer portion of the pistol, I did want to mention the grip. This is one of those things that Walther knocks out of the park with pretty much any of their guns. The way that they design their grip very ergonomically, you can even see little rivets in the grip, which really adds and molds to your hand. Whether you have big hands or small hands, you can find a grip that fits really nicely with Walther. Overall, it makes it very easy to get on target because it just fits your hand. But that's not where the good grip ends. They do have what they coin as the performance duty texture. Literally had to look that one up because I did not know what they called it specifically. On this strap, and it goes all the way around. So you can see it goes all the way from the back of the gun over to the sides, up to the front. There's a little bit of a break, and then it continues on the front with a normal kind of checkered texturing you would get on the front of a pistol. So this is nice. It allows it to stick in your hand. Whether you're sweaty, whether you're out there, you've been running it for a while, your hands are getting tired, this thing's gonna stick to your hand, which is nice. So very aggressive on that texture. And now on to the piece de resistance, their trigger. Walther does a great job with their triggers. So as you can see, it's a flat trigger with a little bit of a curve on the bottom. You do have a trigger safety in the center, a blade style trigger safety in the center. You do pull that back very light. You can actually hear it, which is kind of fun. And then let's go ahead and give you a trigger pull. So very smooth up here. There's no grittiness, as you might know with some new guns right out of the box. And then you hit a very distinct wall. Push through it. Man, that feels like right at 5 pounds. Let's see how accurate that is. Let me know in the comments below. If you've shot this gun and you've never seen a trigger pull gauge on it, let me know what you think a Walther PDP trigger is, because I believe any of the flat triggers are fairly similar. All right, moving on. Okay, so that kicks you right back out to the wall. Sometimes when you pull a trigger, it kicks you out past that wall a little bit, and then you're right back on it, and then bang. That's a very nice trigger, very crisp break and reset. You're gonna be able to put a lot of rounds downrange very quickly with this gun. And then as you continue behind the trigger, you can see that we do also have our mag release, which is a circle pattern. It is very easy to get to. Nice thing about this is if you overreach, if you're one of those people who may overreach with a finger because of maybe poor grip or just in general maybe a big hands and you sometimes bump your mag safety or your mag release, you're less likely to do so, and I'll show you why. So they added a little bit of a ridge that comes out and kind of helps flatten out that mag release. So if you're getting it from above, like you probably would be with your thumb, it feels normal and it feels like it protrudes nicely. But if you're getting it at any other angle, which includes finger coming up, even a palm, you're gonna hit that ridge and not pop that mag release. Still possible, still can do it, but it's way less likely because of good design. So let's take a look at that mag well. You do have a nice cutout on the bottom, which is always a good thing to see. Again, makes it really easy to reload. So let's put the gun down, bring the case back, and talk about what comes in the case. First things first, they do a good job at kind of giving you nice cutouts, so your gun will fit nicely in there. They do give you a green recoil spring. So what's nice about this, if you actually read the text right down here, it is literally for using with a suppressor. So they give you a threaded barrel and they give you the proper spring to go with it to use with maybe added back pressures that you're gonna get with a suppressor. Because when you put a suppressor on there, those gases are definitely more intense. So moving on. You're also gonna get a couple of different adjustable back straps, and these are, for the first time I'm noticing this, it's the same way on that as well. These are actually rubber. They are very, very hard rubber, but you can see, maybe I can flex it in just a little bit. That's nice. I would never have known that if I didn't take these out. You also get some tools, and then your other 2 magazines with also a speed loader on top. So that's 3 magazines, speed loader, extra spring, 2 extra adjustable back straps, and some tools. Nice package they put together. You're also gonna get a case that locks nicely as well. So now let's move on and verify those tech specs. The first things first, let's measure it. So they claim 8.1 inches. I'm curious to see exactly how that breaks down. So we've got the pistol here. You have, yeah, literally, actually it's right at 8 inches. Now it's interesting, that's gonna be that beaver tail, and the back strap is what they're considering the full length of the pistol, is how you get to that 8.1, but from here to here is actually right around 8 inches. So just something to note. And then, let me measure it here so I can see it real quick. You're looking at 5.75 inches from top to bottom here, from the bottom of the mag all the way up to your rear sights here, basically 6 inches tall. So in case you're trying to put it in a specific case and you want to know dimensions, now you have them. Let's do the last thing here, and that's going to be width. So you can see it, I can't. Yeah, interesting. So the mag well is over 1.5 inches, but everything else is just a little bit over that 1 inch mark. So again, in case you have something specific, somewhere specific, you want to put the pistol, hopefully that helps. Let's move on to the trigger pull, because I'm curious. Walther is known for their great triggers. Now, we do clear every gun before we ever start filming, but I did clear it again just to make sure. So we're gonna do our first pull in 3, 2. Now, I tried to pull the trigger, but that trigger safety, the blade trigger, is very, very thin, and the trigger gauge is U-shaped, so it doesn't actually depress the trigger safety, and I wasn't able to get an accurate reading. So I just put a little bit of piece of paper right in that trigger gauge, just to see if that will help. So in 3, 2, 3.1 pounds. Wow, I am off by 2 pounds on my finger. It's one of those humbling moments in life. Okay, I'll try it one more time in 3, 2. Wow, 2.9. So it really is looking like this is a 3-pound trigger, maybe just a little bit more than 3-pound trigger inside this guy. That is awesome. it feels really good and crisp. So overall, that does not surprise me that it is lighter than I thought it was. That has been the Walther PDP Compact with the threaded barrel series. This thing is awesome. At least right out of the box, you're gonna get a ton of features. You get extra springs, you have all the options you might want in a pistol, and it feels good in the hand. Pretty rare combo. Not to mention, you get those extra accessories. So, with that being said, if you guys have any experiences with the Walther PDP Pro SD series in the compact size, please leave a review down below. We would love to see your comments. That's all I have for you guys today. God bless, stay safe. It is time to end. Now I want to see how this thing shoots.